Hey, what's up, everyone? Sir Cardinal here. I'm going to talk some hockey. There's been a lot of movement in the last couple of weeks, and tomorrow is the annual trade deadline where teams load up for the playoffs and teams are sellers and buyers. It's a great day if you're a hockey fan, but in the last couple of weeks, there's been some pretty big moves. So I'm just going to talk about some of the moves that happened just recently, and we'll talk about some possible players that will be on the move come tomorrow. So let's start. All right. On February 13th, the LA Kings and Ottawa Senators made kind of a big move. The Kings added Dion Phaneuf and forward Nate Thompson to their team. The Kings are in a playoff push, and adding Dion Phaneuf is kind of huge. He actually had a pretty good debut. If I recall, he scored a goal in his first game as a King. But anyway, yeah, the Ottawa Senators received Marian Gaborik. I don't know if he's played yet. I think he has. I'm not sure. And forward Nick Shore went to the Senators. So that's a pretty good team. Both veterans in that deal, Phaneuf and Gaborik, are kind of pricey. But Gaborik, I don't know if he's going to be there much longer. There's rumors that he's going to retire at the end of the season, so we'll see what happens with that. But I think the Kings won this trade. They added Dion Phaneuf come their playoffs, and if they can get into the playoffs, I know the Kings have been slumping quite a bit since their hot start. But by adding Dion Phaneuf, I think that's going to re-energize his batteries, and he's going to be ready to go. He's not that same type of player like he was when he was in Calgary, but still just a defenseman that can actually play the position at times, and he's great at the point. So he's got that bomb from the point. So look for him to play some power play with Drew Doughty and maybe get some points. So we'll see what happens. But I like that trade for the Kings. Phaneuf's a pretty good defenseman, I think. But just struggles since he signed that massive contract. So we'll see what happens on that. Looking at some other trades here. Pretty big deal. February 19th, the Detroit Red Wings and Philadelphia Flyers facilitated a trade. The Detroit Red Wings traded goaltender Peter Mrazek to the Flyers. Brian Elliott is currently on the IR. It looks like he's going to be there for the rest of the season. So the Flyers picked up a possible future number one goaltender. Mrazek's like a young goalie, 24, 25, something like that. But Mrazek has had some attitude issues. He used to be the number one goalie in front of Jimmy Howard, but with some off-ice issues with the Wings, it looked like they were really intent on moving him this season, and they found a partner with the Flyers. But I think this is a really good deal for the Flyers. As many of you know, the Flyers goalies in their life is like going to goaltender hell. The Flyers cannot hold on to a number one goalie. They've had several goalies that come and gone. Steve Mason, Bobby Boucher, Brian Boucher. That's it. Brian Boucher, Roman Czechmanek. You've had tons of goalies. You've had Bobrovsky in Philadelphia, and these guys could not stay in Philadelphia as number one goalies for long. This is a really tough place to play. You know, the crowd, they're always demanding of their Flyers, and the goaltenders that have come and gone in Philadelphia. Brizgalov, that's another one, but Mrazek has his work cut out for him to stay in Philadelphia. The only thing with this trade is he's young. The Flyers are getting better. And the picks that they're giving up are just conditional picks in 2018 and 2019. So it's not much of a loss for the Flyers in that regard. But hopefully Mrazek can propel himself as a number one goalie and just relish at it. And he's going to be the guy to go to. He actually has a couple of wins already as a Flyer, so that's pretty impressive. But that's just the start. But I like this trade for the Flyers. He's a really good young goaltender. Just needs to get his head on straight, and I think the Flyers are going to walk away with this, and hopefully they can start to move upwards with this position. Let's see what else. Nothing really great, just depth trades. Erik Fehr goes from the Leafs to the Sharks. Fehr doesn't play in the NHL much. I think he's in the AHL a lot. Nothing really. Nothing. The Coyotes on February 21st, Arizona traded for goaltender Darcy Kemper. He was the backup to Jonathan Quick in LA, but then they switched him to Arizona. and he actually signed a contract extension with the Coyotes, so he's going to be there for the next 2 years. So it looks like he's going to be their backup in Arizona. Good goalie, not too bad. And then the Kings got goaltender Scott Wedgwood and Tobias Ryder, which is surprising because Ryder, who was an Edmonton Oilers draft pick, was traded to Arizona because just too many skilled young forwards on Edmonton. He wasn't going to play there. But anyway, he played pretty well with the Coyotes. I was surprised he was a part of this trade to the Kings. He's a good, young, skilled forward. He can score some goals. And as a matter of fact, I just recall he scored his first goal as a King against the Oilers the other night. He's a fast player, and with the Kings having some depth, veterans mostly, I think Ryder's going to thrive in LA. So it's a nice little trade for the Kings getting him. Not too big of a trade, but I like the Ryder part being added to the Kings roster. And I think that's going to be a good move for him. He's going to fit in well with them. He's going to play with Kopitar. He's going to play with Carter, Toffoli. There's a lot of players that he could play with, and he's going to actually do quite well. And the Kings, if they can get into the playoffs, look out for these guys. Frank Vetrano from Boston went to the Panthers for a third-round draft pick this year. Nothing major. Vetrano's a good young prospect. He's small, though. He's a tiny, tiny young man. He's 5'8", but that's how the NHL is now. It's not like it was back in the day where little guys couldn't play. It's more open for the little guys now. Their speed, with all the penalties being called now, Vetrano should be a pretty good player for the Panthers, even though they're having a not so great season this year, and they're probably not going to make the playoffs. But this adds some depth for their organization, if anything, or their AHL team. But yeah, not too bad. Kind of a big trade. February 22nd, the Rangers and the Devils. Michael Grabner from the Rangers was sat out a couple of games ago, and then he ended up being traded to the New Jersey Devils. Not a bad trade for the Devils. They added a veteran, which is great because the team is kind of young. They're not going to make the playoffs, I don't believe, but Grabner's veteran leadership with the core that they have in New Jersey right now with Taylor Hall and their first overall draft pick, Nico Hischier, they should help out with veteran leadership. And Grabner has some, he's fast. He's one of the fastest guys in the NHL. Gets tons of breakaways. He may not score all the time, but he does get his chances. He plays penalty kill. He plays power play. And like I said, he's got some wheels on him. So that's pretty good trade for the Devils. And the Rangers didn't get anything really special. They got a prospect, Igor Rykov, and they're getting a second rounder in this year's draft, which is good because that's where the draft really starts to get fun, is in the second and later rounds. But that's where the gems are usually hidden, is in the second and towards the fourth round. So Rangers add some depth, and they're probably going to get a middle of the pack draft pick in the second round, maybe a little bit higher. It depends on where the Devils finish. The next day, February 23rd, Pittsburgh and the Vegas Golden Knights made a small little trade, but the Penguins sent, he's kind of an enforcer. He's a policeman on the ice. He's not going to score goals, but Ryan Reeves, he's a big boy, so you can't mess with him, and he's going to the Golden Knights team that's kind of young. They do have some veterans on the Golden Knights, but Ryan Reeves is going to be that policeman on the ice. He's going to protect his players. He's going to throw his body. He's going to make some big hits, and he's going to cause some havoc for the opposition come playoff time. The Golden Knights needed a depth player like that, and I think Ryan Reeves is a perfect fit for the Vegas Knights. I'm looking forward to see what they do, and I'm really excited to see what Ryan Reeves does in Vegas. He's going to be a fan favorite, I think, in Vegas for sure. And the Golden Knights just ended up trading a forward prospect, Tobias Lindbergh. Not much to say about him. He's a good young prospect, but who knows with these prospects going to Pittsburgh. If he plays in Pittsburgh, he's got a great team. He's got Malkin, you got Crosby, Kessel, you got all these stars, and I think he could fit right in with this team moving forward, if he gets a chance at least. But and that same day, just like I think it was an hour, if I recall, the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Ottawa Senators made a kind of a big trade. The Penguins ended up getting Derek Brassard, top six forward. He's been a really decent player. He's played for Columbus. He's played with Rangers, Ottawa just recently, and so he's headed to Pittsburgh. Like I said, you're adding this piece with the pieces that they currently have. It's going to load up for the playoffs, and this could hopefully get their chance for a three-peat with adding Brassard. I don't think they're done as well, but adding Brassard is a push in the right direction to try to three-peat. They also got a prospect, Vincent Dunn, and they also got a 2018 third-round draft pick. The Ottawa Senators received defenseman Ian Cole, a really good goaltender prospect from Sweden, Filip Gustafsson. He's a really good up-and-coming goalie, and I think Ottawa is looking for a number one goalie for the future as their goaltenders are getting older and they're not really developing an alarming rate. So by adding Gustafsson, I think this is their number one goalie for the future. And they also get a Pittsburgh pick that is a 2018 first round draft pick, which is probably going to be in the middle of the pack this year. So that's not too bad of a pickup. Depends on what the Penguins do come playoff time. If they win the Stanley Cup again, they're going to be picking 30th. So then the Senators will get the last pick in the first round. But it only gets better if they do not advance far enough, and it could be a decent pickup for a prospect for them coming to Ottawa. And they also get a 2019 third round draft pick, which is also pretty good too. Depends on placing, of course, obviously. And yesterday, the New York Islanders and the Edmonton Oilers made a small little trade. The Edmonton Oilers traded Brandon Davis to the Islanders for a third round draft pick in 2019. Let me get this out of the way. Everyone knows I'm a huge Edmonton Oilers fan. And Brandon Davison last year was traded on deadline day to the Montreal Canadiens. I was pretty upset because I liked how he played. But not even a year later, same thing happens. He gets traded again. He got traded to Montreal last year, and then Montreal really didn't play him very much this season, so they put him on waivers, and he got picked up again by the Oilers. So he's not a flashy defenseman. He doesn't score, but when he was with the Oilers, he ended up getting 3 goals. In his return as an Oiler. It was pretty impressive. He's not the greatest defender, a little bit slower when he's coming back, but he is a big boy, and he's a good depth defenseman, and the Islanders have some solid defensemen there, so I think he's going to fit right in with the Islanders, and it just seems to me like the Islanders always have the Oilers trade number. Like, it just seems like the Islanders always have the better of these trades. Like Jordan Eberle for Ryan Strome. Even though Ryan Strome has picked it up in the last few days, still Eberle's got 22 goals this year. He's playing with Tavares. He's playing with Lee. Again, like he went there, and then you had Griffin Reinhart, the big prospect for the Islanders. He was traded a couple years ago for the 16th overall draft pick. And who was drafted 16th overall 2 years ago? Matt Barzal. Could have been an Oiler if he would have stayed where he was, and maybe Edmonton would have drafted him, and he could have been possibly lighting it up right now. It could have been McDavid and Barzal. But yeah, anyway, like I said, Islanders always have the Oilers number comes trade time, so good trade for the Islanders. I like it. Hopefully he can stick around with them. Today started the fireworks. Even though tomorrow is all the fireworks, today set off the fireworks. Rick Nash was traded to the Boston Bruins. I never liked these trades where the same conference teams trade with one another. I get it. The Rangers are probably not going to make the playoffs, and Boston's loading up. But usually these types of players get moved to the other conference. I was expecting him to go to the West, but Rick Nash had a 10 trade team list where he did not want to go to. So maybe a lot of the Western teams were on the list. But anyway, the Rangers got a nice return for a rental player. I don't know if Rick Nash is going to re-sign. It all depends if how far they go in the playoffs. Maybe if they win the Cup, maybe he'll stay. And it'll be a great trade for both teams. But right now, I'm liking this trade for the Rangers, just by what they got in return. They got a 2018 first-round draft pick, which is probably going to be at the bottom of the first round. And if Boston wins the Cup this year, then it's going to be 30th overall. But still, it's nice to have that pick in the first round. You can never go wrong with having a first-rounder anyway. They picked up a prospect, Ryan Spooner, who plays on Boston quite a bit. And he was really good. I remember when he was coming up, I really liked this player. He's a good forward, and he's kind of fast. He knows how to score. And just by looking at the stats tonight, I was looking before just to see how these guys were doing in their debuts. Nash didn't do anything really flashy for the Boston Bruins tonight. But Ryan Spooner got an assist tonight in his debut with the Rangers. So look for that. That was pretty impressive. I'm liking that. They also picked up Matt Bollig. Matt Bollig, ever since signing that free agent contract with the Bruins, has done really nothing for the Bruins. He was with Anaheim before, and he had a really solid season. I think he had close to 30 goals that one year, and he got a big money contract. And like I said, he's been healthy scratch. He hasn't been playing. He hasn't been doing very much. And I think the Rangers are paying, or the Bruins are paying the Rangers half of his salary going forward. I think he has a couple years left. So I do believe the Boston Bruins are paying half of his salary, and I do believe the Rangers are paying for half of Rick Nash's salary as well to make things compliant with the cap, so each of the teams don't go over. They also picked up a prospect, Ryan Lindgren. Not too bad. And then they also got a conditional 19 7th-round draft pick, which is just a conditional, whatever. So it all depends on probably how Boston does. I'm figuring. But that was a pretty big trade today. This sets the table up nicely for tomorrow because now there's some other players out there that are probably wondering where they're going to end up because the other contending teams are now going to have to say, hey, Boston did this today. Now we're going to have to do something pretty drastic to compete with the Bruins moving forward. A couple hours later, the Leafs today picked up Thomas Plekanec from the Montreal Canadiens. Very good veteran presence. He doesn't have very much playoff experience, but he is one of those players that can score. And with this team that he's going to, the Maple Leafs, they're a young, flashy, young and gun, up and down the ice. I think Plekanec is going to thrive in Toronto with this team. He's going to add some, like I said, some veteran leadership in the locker room. This is perfect for the playoffs. They got a prospect, Bobby Braun. I know that was a Leaf. His grandfather was a Leaf back in the day, so that's good. I guess the Leafs got the grandson, so that's kind of cool. The Leafs ended up trading Kirby Reichel's son, or that's who they got, was Kirby Reichel. His dad, Warren, played in the NHL back in the day, but Kirby is a smaller forward. He's very talented. He was with the Columbus Blue Jackets organization, and then I think they traded him to the Leafs, and he was playing with the Marlies most of the year this year, but he's only 23 years old. Thing is, he's small. That's what the Canadians don't need. They have all these small players, and they need to get bigger, and I'm not sure about that, but it's nice to have these young guys, but who knows what they can do. I think Montreal's going to be pretty busy tomorrow. Maybe Reichel will play. I don't know. I think they're going to be. I think eventually he's going to have to play because I think they're going to be trading some of their veterans off this team. So I think Reichel might get a shot to play NHL hockey. But I do like this trade for the Leafs just for the veteran leadership come playoff time. Him and Patrick Marleau, and Patrick Marleau and him are going to probably be leaders in the locker room come playoff time. So they have the experience. Marleau has tons of playoff experience, so he's going to be a nice vocal guy in the locker room. And Plekanec probably do the same just by being there. And just by looking at his stats, it looks like he's going to be playing his 1,000th game as a Maple Leaf. And I also have been reading today that Plekanec is a free agent at the end of the season, and he will not re-sign with the Maple Leafs. But there was reports that he was actually open to the idea of going back to Montreal at the end of the season. So this is definitely a rental type trade. I can see Plekanec going back to Montreal, like the report said. So that should be pretty interesting. But I think it's good for the playoffs for this year. And that's all that matters. What can you do for me now instead of later, right? So I like this pickup for the Leafs. Kyle Bond, that's his name. Kirby Reichel and a defenseman prospect, and a second-round draft pick. That's kind of big. So, but the Leafs are in the late part of the pick, so that's okay. And today we had a three-way trade. The Edmonton Oilers traded Mark Letestu to the Nashville Predators. The Predators gave the Oilers forward prospect Pontus Aberg. He's very fast, skilled, perfect fit for the Oilers. He's got a year left on his contract, so that's really cool. And then Letestu was flipped to the Columbus Blue Jackets for a 2018 4th-round draft pick. So he goes from the Predators right to Columbus. That's where Letestu had his best moments in his career was with the Columbus Blue Jackets, even though he was drafted by the Penguins. But he was a pretty good player for Columbus. So he's going back to familiar ground, and he's a great face-off guy. He plays some power play. I don't know if he's going to play power play in Columbus, but he was on the power play in Edmonton, and he was okay, but he wasn't that guy like Ovechkin on the point and just ripping bombs. But he was there, and he's going to give them some veteran leadership, and he's great on faceoff, so he's going to help Columbus in their playoff push too, I think. So Edmonton looks like to be unloading some of their unrestricted free agents. And tonight, San Jose traded Brandon Bollig to the Nashville Predators, which is kind of not really a great trade, but it's just a trade for depth. Come playoff time, you need those big, beefy guys that come and just police everything out there. And Brandon Bollig is a big boy. He's going to cause some havoc against some teams, and he's just going to plow you over and take names later, and he's going to drop the gloves if he has to. Good move. I don't know if the Predators are going to play him, but you never know. Come playoff time, they might need that guy on the ice to start patrolling, and that's it's all about momentum come playoff time, and especially at home games. If Bollig's playing, he's going to get the crowd going in Nashville. And we all seen what Nashville's crowd's like come playoff time. It's quite the atmosphere. That's all I got to say. And look for the Predators to go far. That reminds me, today also there was reports that Mike Fisher is going to sign for the rest of the year with the Predators for $1 million, so he can play for the rest of the season come playoff time. Also, if you're an unrestricted free agent, you have till 3 o'clock tomorrow. So players like Aginla, who's still available, if he signs with someone before 3 o'clock, he's eligible to play for the playoffs. So look for him to be playing with the Preds come playoff time, Mike Fisher. And then Aginla, hopefully he can sign with the team come tomorrow so he can play on the playoffs, go to any team he wants, like any contending team. So I can see him signing hopefully tomorrow, but who knows with him and his hip injury. And that's another thing. The Bruins added another veteran today, U.S. Olympian Brian Gionta signed with the Bruins for the rest of the year, so he's gonna be playing in the playoffs for sure. So that's nice to add some more veteran leadership on the Bruins squad. So Brian Gionta is a Bruin. That's pretty good. Now I'm gonna look quickly at the trade bait. TSN has trade bait for players that are rumored to be on the move. Some big names out here. There's not very many big names, but it's been up and down all year with Erik Karlsson. There was rumors back in the day that he was going to get traded, and there's rumors no, they're not going to trade him. Then there was rumors out that would trade him by the draft or at the draft, and now there's rumors that the Vegas Golden Knights are serious contenders to land Erik Karlsson. But there's one catch: if Karlsson is indeed traded, Ottawa would also be trading Bobby Ryan with him. Ottawa looks to be unloading some cap, serious money. So, and Vegas has $42 million in cap for next season. And by adding these two pieces is a no-brainer. And you get a top six forward in Bobby Ryan. He's been bit by the injury bug, but still a very serviceable player. And come playoff time, Bobby Ryan could thrive with a James Neal or whoever else is David Perron. But if you can get Erik Karlsson, he's only 27 years old, and his cap hit, he's got one more year left on his contract, so that you're going to get him for another full season with Vegas. And I could see this being a perfect match for Erik Karlsson. Ottawa would be getting a king's ransom in return for this trade. Like, you're getting these two players out with cap. Vegas Golden Knights are going to be getting one of the best defensemen in the NHL, and I think this is perfect. They got tons of draft picks to give away. They can give first rounders this year. They can give first and second rounders next year. They can give prospects. They can give roster players that are going to probably be going to Ottawa. So I think Ottawa has some very viable options in trading Karlsson tomorrow. There's a couple of teams that could also make a push for Karlsson, but I have a feeling if Karlsson goes anywhere, Bobby Ryan will be going with him in that trade. Tampa Bay was rumored to be interested, and they got a lot of good prospects too, like Mikhail Sergachev. He would be going to Ottawa if he goes to Tampa Bay. I really think, like, if Tampa Bay gets Karlsson, look out. And having Sergachev, he's basically a rookie this year, and he's going to be a top two defenseman in this league for any team that he plays with. But right now, I'm thinking Vegas is really gonna open the door on this one, and they're gonna make that trade happen come tomorrow. I'm looking at other players right now. Ryan McDonough from the Rangers is available. Mike Green from the Detroit Red Wings. I could see him going back to Washington. That's just a guess, rumor on my not a rumor, but just a prediction that he will be going back to the Capitals. Nice power forward in Evander Kane. San Jose and Anaheim were linked to be getting him, and with Rick Nash now off the market, I think teams like or players like Evander Kane, Patrick Maroon, will definitely be being moved to contending teams to help them and their playoff push. I could see Patrick Maroon maybe going to St. Louis. I've been here in Boston, but I don't know if that's going to be possible now with all these trades that they did today. Thomas Vanek is another big name. Mike Hoffman has been getting a lot of rumors out there about his name from Ottawa being moved. Thomas Vanek. Ian Cole, like I said, was traded to Ottawa, but I've been hearing that his name is being put out there for tomorrow as well, that he will not be playing with the Senators at all. He'll just be another piece to go to another team. Max Domi, I see on this list. This is crazy. He's been only in the league a few years, and he's young, he's skilled, but he's small. But still, this kid, I think he needs a new change of scenery, and he can probably do some damage. I'd love to see him on the Oilers, that's for sure. But we'll see what happens come tomorrow with that. Max Petriotti, Jeff Skinner's on this list, Alex Galchenyuk. That's it for the big names, really. But usually there's always some surprises come tomorrow. Like on trade deadline day, there's always that one shocking trade that'll be like, what the hell just happened? Like, that wasn't rumored to happen. So hopefully tomorrow that is. All the festivities get going tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Usually there's no trades until, what, 11:30. It gets really quiet, so I'm not going to be live streaming. I wanted to, but it goes till 3 p.m., and I'm not going to live stream this whole thing. I'll probably just make quick little videos on each trade and just upload it to my channel. That's about it. But once a trade happens, I'll make the video and I'll post it right away, and I'll give my opinions on the trade, who won it, and just talk about it. So look forward to that to come tomorrow. But I just wanted to give you a quick last couple of weeks of what's going on, and this is not even the trade deadline. There was so many trades in this last couple of weeks. It's leading up to tomorrow. The only thing I'm worried about is with all these trades that happened, tomorrow's going to be very quiet. Because last year, I fell asleep a lot because there was very little trades. It was one of the worst trade deadlines ever. I'm just hoping it's not like this tomorrow. But like I said, come check me out tomorrow. Just give me a like, comment, subscribe. If you like this video, that'd be great. But if not, hey, I'm just talking. I'm just talking from the heart. I'm not like rehearsing. I'm just talking freely. So this is what I like. This is one of my passions, is hockey. Yeah, I may stumble a lot, maybe nervous. Yeah, a little bit. But anyway, guys, thank you. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Good night.